Hello and welcome back to Talk of the Traitors. I'm Benedict Townsend.
And I'm Hannah Townsend.
What an explosive episode. Something happened that I think none of us expected. Hannah, the peacock noise is back.
It actually was. And a few people texted me saying, the peacock's back. And I was like, wow, we really go in for those niche details, don't we?
We really do. It's so funny because I said it out loud when it happened. Then I saw a text appear on your phone, all caps, that just said, peacock. But aside from that, I can't think of really anything else that happened this episode.
We heard down the rumour mill that this was going to be a super explosive episode. And then we got quite far through it. And I was like, oh, the rumour mill must have been wrong. And then obviously they were saving it for the end of the episode, which was insane. But before we start, I feel like we should recap because we met Joanna Page today. We can't say why. Joanna Page is Stacey from Gavin and Stacey.
Yes.
And she did some predictions.
She did. She predicted, correctly I will say, that Maz would be murdered.
Yes.
And she also predicted that Stephen would be banished, which she wasn't far off on.
She wasn't. He survived by the skin of his teeth, didn't he?
Somehow. Yeah, we can't tell you exactly what it is we did with Joanna, but it's an exciting new thing. It's Gavin and Stacey too. There, I said it. I'll be playing Gavin. Hannah's playing Dave Coaches. It's going to be huge. Oh, it's raining outside. How cozy.
It's not just raining, it's pouring. Can I start?
And what about the old man? Tell me about the old man. Is he awake?
I keep trying to start.
Is he awake?
I keep trying to start. You keep... Oh. Let us begin, people. Class is in session. I have a question at the top of this episode. Mm-hmm. Fiona's actions in this episode of Traitors, was it iconic and fun, or is it a little bit too messy? I'm genuinely interested into what people think.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it breaks the rules because... the only thing she's breaking is the unspoken rules of surely you wouldn't be this blatant.
Yes.
The main reason why traitors don't loudly call each other out in public, so to speak, is because it just attracts way too much attention on you. It makes things way too messy. But you are allowed to do it. And I'll be honest, I think she was within her rights personally because I think she is being genuine. I do think she thinks that Rachel is lying, that she's got a kind of righteousness about her that doesn't feel cynical to me.
I think she thinks Rachel's lying. However, should she have called it out in front of everyone when they are supposed to be a group of traitors working together?
Yes, also, I do not understand from a strategy point of view why that benefits her. If she can see that Rachel's doing a sneaky game, why wouldn't she just be part of it? But is it because, as she said, she cannot trust Rachel at all?
Yeah.
She thinks Rachel's going to get rid of her and Stephen, so she's just jumping the gun.
Actually, in Fiona's defense, before the secret traitor came in the turret, Rachel clearly said,
she did.
Let's get rid of the secret traitor. So actually, maybe my mind is changing and Fiona is actually one step ahead of this game and she knows what Rachel's going to do and she's getting there first.
Yeah, as much as she may play the dits, she's very sharp, Fiona. My favourite thing about Fiona, by the way, I keep telling people about this, is that she keeps doing this thing, and I guess it was part of the act, where she'd be like, there's life within the bones yet, as if she's 100. She's 62.
She said there's life within the old girl yet.
She's 60. She's 62. That's not even retirement age.
Yeah, I know.
She's actually quite young. She's the youngest possible old person. I think... our parents are older than her, right?
Yeah, our parents are older than her. But the way she's played this, if you didn't tell me she was 62, I wouldn't have thought she was 62 based on the things that she has said.
The way she's acting, I would have said that she is the lady from Weapons, and she is 8 centuries old, the way she talks sometimes.
My mum wouldn't refer to herself and say there's life in the old girl still.
62! Unless I'm wrong about this. 62 is it's literally the new 40.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
You just got a freedom pass.
I simply have to know. I simply have to know what Fiona does to her hair. It's this perfect kind of bushy, permy. I
what do you think it's a perm?
It might be a perm.
Swansea's finest perm.
It might be Swansea's finest perm. Is she from Swansea?
I don't know. I just pulled
Joanna
that out of nowhere.
Page was from Swansea, who we spoke to today. We may have mentioned we spoke to Stacey.
Yeah.
But we can't say why.
But yes, to rewind, we heard through the grapevine it was an explosive episode. It's so funny because stuff kept happening that was kind of explosive. We'll talk about the round table, but when it went to a draw and stuff, we were like, yeah, I guess it's explosive, but we've seen this before. And then we were checking the clock. We're like, like, we're only a few minutes left. What could possibly happen? And then to quote Fiona, I threw a grenade in there.
That's going to become one of my vocal stims. I've thrown a grenade in.
Okay, so let's start at the end. Let's just talk through that final bit because it's the most exciting bit, and then we'll talk about the other stuff.
Yeah, so you'll know when to click off.
Yes, exactly. You can listen to the good stuff, and then you can skip the filler.
That's a smart way to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Talk about all the good stuff up front. And then when we get to minute 25, have no listeners. And that is when we'll ask for the 5-star review
That's when we'll ask
no one's there.
Thank you, by the way, to everyone who gave us a 5-star review and commented nice.
legends.
What we should do is we should put all the ads at the end of the episode. That'll get them. Look, let's just talk about it because it's so exciting. We're going to keep coming back to it otherwise anyway.
Yeah.
So it all began with Amanda going, RIP to a real one. Amanda did not reveal that she was a detective when she went, which I was a little surprised by.
I think Amanda's closing speech, my home is your home, gorgeous.
This land is your land.
She feels like such a genuine, nice person. I really liked Amanda, and I'm sad that Amanda has gone. Now, was that scene where she told Rachel that she was a senior detective one of the worst things and so genuinely uncomfortable to watch? Only because, she'd got it wrong.
I wrote down some quotes from this. She said, I've told Rachel, she said, quote, I'm not always right. You're damn straight about that. you're the only person you've picked to tell this is a traitor. I mean, obviously, we're smug because we know.
Right.
But it is very funny that of all the people you've picked. And Rachel's little face, the glee.
I think most of the public wanted Reese to go tonight because he's kind of given up. And fair play in a way to him.
Yeah.
Because he knows if he doesn't go tonight, he'll go tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then he's just got to survive another day where kind of no one's on your side. You're a little bit ostracized. And then, we get to the round table. Who are we going to vote? Reese. I understand, but someone losing their fight like that, crying, he's having a bit of a shocker of a game, isn't he?
He's finding it hard. It reminds me a little bit of the end game we like to talk about, where everyone's like moping around the castle being sad because no one trusts each other. He's kind of already reached that part.
But just him.
But I will say, in previous series, we would have said, pull up your socks, mate. It's just a game. It's just a game. But honestly, us, having played just a fake game of Traitors one time that wasn't even filmed, I actually get it so much more now. Because it does suck if you're spending all day with people basically walking up to him going, you're a traitor, by the way. And he's like, I know you think I'm a traitor. I think he wanted to go so he could just tell them he was faithful.
Well, yeah. They say that, don't they? I mean, as Amanda would know with her police work, that they say that like when people are captured, the ones who are guilty sleep.
Yeah.
Because you're finally able to rest because you've been so anxious about being caught, and then you're caught and you sleep. Whereas if you're innocent, you would stay awake because you're like, what the hell? I haven't killed someone.
Yeah, also you can sleep because you know what's going on. You know what happened.
Yes.
Whereas if you're innocent and you're wrongly imprisoned, you're like, what the hell? I got to get out of here. Rah!
So Amanda goes.
Yes.
And then we get to straight after Rachel. I was so surprised at this move. Decides to gather. She's like, I must gather everyone. She then gathers about 4 people. I said to you, I was like, that's not everyone.
No.
Either gather everyone or don't. It annoys me when people half-ass.
Well, but moving that many people, they're all having a drink. They don't want to. So she told half the group.
She told half the group after she said gather everyone.
She then went and told the other half of the group, and there was a really funny detail where everyone was sat in a circle except for Sam, who was kneeling upright. He was in the circle, but he was kneeling, and he wasn't kneeling where you like rest your bum on your heels. He was kneeling upright in a really uncomfortable way, full weight on the knees.
Like when kids do that thing where they put shoes on their... Someone make an edit of Sam with like shoes on his knees like a kid would do.
He did. He looked a little bit like when Hugo came in the door. Too low.
You need to give that up. So she gathered one group. They were all like, what? Like, I think she thought people were going to be like, no, wait. I don't think people cared as much as she thought they might.
Can I say, not to be wise after the event, but the second she started telling them, I thought, but you've made the mistake here of announcing something that no one else
can
verify, which is something Traitors have done before, which always catches them out because there's something inherently suspicious about like, I have a piece of information, by the way, it's impossible to check, and the person who told me it is gone, don't worry about it.
Also, it is annoying for other people because it's like, oh, she trusted you, she told you. That's it's almost a bit hurtful of like, oh, I thought I was close to Amanda. I guess I wasn't.
But Rachel thought it would be the opposite. Rachel thought it would make people go, wow, she must be really trustworthy that Amanda trusted her with her secret. secret. But actually, if anything, it just makes people look at Rachel. And Rachel has been so good this series at blending in without being too quiet.
Yeah.
Like, no one ever writes her name down. Has her name ever been written down? I don't think it's ever been written down.
No.
She blends in the background, and then for some reason, every so often, she's like, was Hugo this boisterous in the tower? She'll just do a dumb thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, Rachel, why are you sabotaging yourself? It's so weird.
The one person she missed out when she gathered everyone twice was James. And she was like, did you hear about Amanda? And he was like, no. And Fiona was there. She was seething, wasn't she?
She was seething.
So the group is told Fiona is immediately on the defense, right? She's pissed. And you can see it. She's pissed. She pulls Harriet aside.
A smart person to pick, by the way.
At this point, I think we as viewers at home are like, she is then going to just start sowing a I don't believe her seed. I don't think we, as viewers, envisioned what was to come.
We assumed she would do the normal thing, which is that she would start to stab her in the back.
Yes.
In fact, Fiona likes to stab people in the front, in the face, I would say.
So she then calls Rachel aside, turning to Rachel and saying, I'm suspicious of you, when she knows they're both traitors.
No, there was a bit where they were alone, having a conversation, talking quite loudly, where she went, you're going to turn on me and Stephen. And I was like, if there was anyone outside there, why the rest of them were not eavesdropping, by the way?
Of course.
Is there like a rule that you're not allowed to eavesdrop?
My ear would have been at that door.
I'd have had a glass at the wall. Like, no one is ever just doing a little sneaky listen. Does it look suspicious? I'm like, why does no one ever do that?
Fiona turning to Rachel and saying, I'm suspicious of you. And Rachel, quite rightly, looking at her like she was insane.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't be suspicious of me. You know I'm a traitor.
Yeah.
You're a traitor.
Yeah.
That, I think Rachel in that moment was like, what do you mean
I think she was short-circuiting. But I think, actually, I'm going to give Fiona a lot of credit. I think Fiona is looking like 5 steps ahead. I think she's going, Rachel's consolidating faithfuls around her so she can get rid of me and Stephen, which, by the way, is exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
And actually, that's quite a desperate situation for another traitor. And how often have we watched traitors just helplessly watch themselves walk into a banishment where they're stitched up?
Yep.
And she basically said, I have to take dramatic control
Now.
of this game right now, which traitors don't usually do. And as mad as that move was, I actually don't know if it was a bad move from Fiona. Because I don't know if people will think she's a traitor off the back of that.
Well, because it would be so insane for a traitor to do this. So you're right. So maybe actually, in the grand scheme of things, although it was very messy, although that conversation was incredibly awkward, maybe it was the best thing to do to get ahead of this. Because come the next day, maybe everyone's like...
But you know the one thing I didn't hear, which is such a traitor's bingo card thing, is I expected this. I thought someone would go, you know what I think we're watching here? 2 traitors battling. Because it does look a bit like... Because Rachel's reaction when she got called out was to like burst out laughing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe this. Whereas I think other people would have been a lot more hurt.
Yes.
Like, imagine if like Jade or someone been like, she's a liar. Like, Jade would have been like in floods of tears and
Yeah.
like, which by the way is a reasonable response.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, a non-traitor I think would have been a lot more like put out by that.
You'd have been like a Reese, like crying or something.
Yeah.
Like, what are you on about? Maybe you're right. Maybe there was no other route. If she left it too long, everyone's going to band with Rachel, and then there's nothing more she can do.
I mean, who knows where this is going to go? We've proven ourselves very bad at predicting how this series is going to unfold. But like, I mean, it's got to be up there with one of the greatest episodes ever. That must be the first time a traitor's ever called out another traitor
In front of everyone.
outside the table as well.
Yeah. Would you or would you not like to be Stephen in that turret? Because for me personally, I don't love confrontation. I can't think of anything worse than being with those two in the turret. I know some people would be like, I would want popcorn, front row seats. That would be like the best thing ever. For me, I would pay money not to be in that turret with them. Would you?
No, I don't like confrontation if I'm in it, right? But if I'm just watching those two, the T-sis, it would be piping.
When Stephen left to just go and laugh.
And he's just giggling in the hallway. So funny. He was like, excuse me, I have to go and laugh in the hallway. And he was, he was like, tee.
I actually thought that looked a little bit suspicious
Yes.
when he was like, I'm going to excuse myself.
Yeah.
And they just went outside. Because also, I will say, if I was with a big group of people, I would definitely want to see what was happening. I don't think I would have to leave then.
Yeah. Why would you not want to hear the updates on
Yeah.
this, the craziest thing that's ever happened?
Well, he doesn't want to hear the updates because he's going to hear them later in the turret.
Yeah.
Me.
Ew. They've ended on a weird cliffhanger of just like them arguing in the turret. And like, I wonder how heated it can get because they kind of have to get along a little bit. I feel like they're going to make nicey, do a murder, but then it's going to be game on.
I love just Fiona's reasoning that like all of her family are in the police, so Amanda definitely would have told her. And I think she does believe that.
Yeah, no, I do think Fiona is operating from a non-cynical place, but a slightly insane one. We should talk about, with the departure of Amanda, we have lost one of the real mainstays of Traitors, which is that on Traitors at the round table, you always have the main dominant theories, and then you always have two people who are just weirdly obsessed with each other, or one person who's really obsessed. We saw it on Celebrity Traitors with Mark Bonner and Tamika, where everyone else was like, well, it's clearly Alan, and he was like, something about Tamika.
Yeah.
And this season we had Jade and
versus
Amanda who
were just both at each other. It happens every time. So they get something in their head and they just can't let it go.
By the way, there was a bit where Jade was like, everyone says I'm going for Amanda just because she went for me. I'm like, that is true. Of course that is. Like, I think that's what's happening. I would do the same.
Look, we can't speak for her, but yes, it felt maybe a little like that.
Maybe that's unfair, but I'm just, if I was in her shoes, I'd be like, well, this woman keeps coming for
me. Go to jail,
me.
Actually, because you shouldn't be saying things like that.
I'm being put in jail. I'm being put in jail, everyone. But it was so funny. Like every night, it'd be like, yeah, you know, this Stephen theory, this thing about Reese, and it'd be like, I am voting for you, Jade. It's like, okay.
Speaking of Stephen, he did mess up again when he did do the order. They were talking at breakfast, and he listed the order that they got murdered in, or that they left in.
And that is one of those things, again, that in previous series they would have really honed in on. And actually, again, like him saying last night, this morning, he's actually giving them real clues, and they refuse to acknowledge them. It's so weird.
At this stage, we did have a conversation saying we think they are one of the strongest group of faithfuls ever.
Yeah.
Do we still believe that? They obviously got Hugo out early, but there's a lot of clues. Reese, I'm looking at you in the family tree.
Oh my God.
Stephen, I'm looking at you dropping like hints left, right, and centre. Are they strong? Yay or nay?
Well, let's start with the first issue there, because we got so many comments about this on YouTube and Spotify and stuff. It is worth repeating. How does Reese not remember seeing Rachel and Stephen standing next to the family tree,
asking him to leave,
and going, "Can you please leave us alone with it?" How does he not remember that? That is one of the most weird, suspicious things that's happened in a game where you're supposed to be always looking out for weird, suspicious things. It's mad to me that he doesn't remember that.
Yeah, I know. And I think some of the audience are like, he's a really bad faithful, get him out.
Well, yeah, the fact that he's missed that. The other thing is, sometimes you have to ask, is it a strong group or are there just certain strong players, right?
Harriet
is strong. Jessie.
Strong. But no one's listening to her.
No, but I think they're starting to. I think Harriet said, I've not been listening to Jessie and I should have been. Jessie has been on the money. Jessie was on Stephen like immediately. Jessie was the only one tonight who did the thing they never do, which is go, hey, remember that banishment we had last night? Do you want to maybe talk about that? How we all voted out Ross and he was faithful? Should we address that? And she said, who was in the cages and was in the Library 5?
Yeah.
So smart.
She's
so
like
smart.
playing Cluedo. She's like Stephen in the drawing room with the revolver. Like she really is. Like she's piecing all the clues.
Stephen in the cage. Stephen in the library with the
Stephen
four
with
others.
the red paint. Like she's getting everything together, but unfortunately people are not listening to her, aside from Harriet. And I like Harriet and I like Jessie.
I think Harriet is going to go far. Here are my gut reaction. Here's who I think is going to make it to the final. Harriet. Jack. I'll tell you for why. We barely see Jack.
Yes.
Which means he's probably staying for a while because they don't bother giving screen time to people who make it far. Also, he just blends in a way that people who make it to the final usually do. No one ever suspects him. He says enough that people don't think he's not a good player.
Yeah.
He's maybe winning the show.
Yeah.
That's how you win. That's not a criticism of him. That's how you win.
In terms of traitors, who do we think? Is now Fiona in prime spot to get Rachel out and then make it to the end?
In terms of traitors, I had the thought this episode of like, I was like, what happens if they all leave?
What happens if we cycle through a whole round of traitors?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, at one point, I think all three of them, maybe not Fiona, I guess, but if the other two are gunning this hard for Fiona, there's a chance all three of them might be gone.
Yeah.
We might end up with all new traitors.
Yeah.
I was thinking like
Everyone gets a chance to be a traitor on this.
I was like, is there any way you can get to a point in the game where you just get all the traitors out before the finale? I'm sure that won't happen, but none of them currently, I think, will make it to the end.
Jade might have a chance to make it to the end. She's flying quite low.
Yeah, and the one person who was gunning for her, Amanda, is now gone.
But now does that look suspicious on her?
Actually, some people said that. All right, let's talk about the challenge briefly, okay? They did do the thing we're always asking for, where they made the challenge sort of relevant to the game because it had to do with shields. That being said, what a snoozer.
What a stinker of a challenge. I assumed it was going to be like a bow and arrow thing, so there was a chance that you could misfire and then be like, oh no, we've got to go find another arrow. Working in a 4, boring. Being out in the forest, boring.
Yeah.
Sticking it in the thing, boring.
Sorry, how many of these challenges are going to be go into the forest and find things?
Yeah.
Every single one of them, it's just a scavenger. Find skulls, find spears. Also, the thing about this is, because like you say, because you can't miss, ultimately you're just asking them who do you think should have a shield. So you could have done away with all the fire and the drama and just got them in a circle and just each asked them.
I think there's actually a world in which they could have made that way more entertaining, doing things face to face, taking shields away from people versus just sticking that thing. It's not a cheap challenge, but it wasn't that interesting to watch.
You're right. If they were all just stood holding a shield and you had to go over and take
shields, that's way more entertaining.
Because this, like you said, this would have been really expensive and elaborate, but it's like...
Also, they kept on saying that when you put the thing in the fire, that then the shield would go off. But then they were only showing the shield from like an up angle. So I think someone was coming and lighting it. It didn't automatically light.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it also looked miserable.
Oh my God.
Because it was pouring. It was pissing it down.
This might be one of the most unlucky group of Traitors contestants in terms of weather. They looked so miserable. When Claudia was kind of rattling on about, that means the prize pot is they all were like, let's go inside. Yeah. We want to die.
I think the final point we need to address is the Traitors serving face during the face-to-face murder.
Well, it's face-to-face. They were all...
Why were they...
You were going to be mogged to death by the traitors.
I guess they can't smile because obviously, it's sad that we're losing someone from the game. And I feel bad for Maz because, to be honest, his death was a little bit, overthrown by all the fun and drama of this episode. But the face-to-face, them all...
Just absolutely...
Fiona was thriving.
She was. They were all doing a bit of a handsome Squidward. Yeah, I feel so... being murdered on Traitors is so much worse than being banished because you do just get forgotten. Like, this is the first time we've mentioned Maz, poor old Maz, just because people are too busy betraying each other.
R.I.P. Let's just say it. R.I.P. Maz. I wish we had seen more of Maz.
Yeah, I wish we got a bit more of Maz in the edit. You said let's end on that. I think we should end on the most important thing, which is that all episode, Rachel was dressed like a minion. She was wearing yellow with blue dungarees over the top. And the first time she came on screen, I went, she's dressed like a minion. And I think throughout all of Fiona Gate and the grenade and everything, she was a minion the whole time.
No, yeah, she was definitely a minion.
Banana. So shout out Rachel.
She was a minion and Sam was dressed like a child with shoes on his knees.
By the way, I would like to issue a statement, not to our audience, but just to the world. Quick reminder, I think people were being quite mean to Rachel after she made that little dig at Ross. And I think we should all it's a game.
Yeah, it is a game. It didn't come across particularly kind.
No, and we said so.
And we said so, but I agree. I think, she's not an evil person.
No.
She was it's how she's playing the game. I don't think it was actually really evilly intended. I think she did it in order to try and get people on side and it backfired and maybe it came across meaner than she intended. But, I don't think...
Meaner? That's a different series.
We love Mina.
We love Mina. No, but also she's a traitor. Like they're gonna do like sneaky underhand things, but it's one thing to be like, oh, what's she like? But some people are being really mean about her online. I'm like, these are real human beings. Like, let's chill. That's just my little call to peace.
Thank you for that.
But mainly, she looked like a minion.
And that brings us to the end of the episode. We've got one left for this week.
Yep.
Friday and Saturday, Sunday.
But not Saturday,
just
Sunday.
Just Friday.
Just Friday.
Yeah.
Just Friday, yeah. Not Saturday, Sunday, no. Ooh. Thank you so much for
Unless
listening.
You're watching later, and then maybe it is a Saturday, Sunday.
It could be Saturday, or possibly Sunday too.
We gotta go.
Make sure to follow to get new episodes first, and please rate us 5 stars and comment nice.
No, you got to do something else for this one.
Okay, comment minion.
Okay, goodbye.
Banana.